Good morning, everyone. It's Brenda Quintana here, and it is a bright, sunshiny morning. You can probably tell the light in here is kind of bright, but I will work with it. It's coming in from my side window, which is kind of beside me, and I've got my curtains closed, but the light from our backyard isn't coming in as bright, so I've got like a lot of light over on this side. But I'm so glad that you're here with me this morning. Today is Casing Tuesday, and that's the day when we take a card out of one of the Stampin' Up catalogs and we give it a makeover. And we have a Facebook group where you can share your card. It's called Casing Tuesday. You can search for it on Facebook, but there's also a link down below. So if you just scroll down, I think it's right at the bottom. You'll have to click on, maybe you'll have to click on read more or see more. But right at the bottom, there is a link over to our Facebook group, and you can share your card over there. You can see how everyone else has changed up the card. So today's card, I like the layout of this card. You can do it different ways, but we actually have a die in the Have a Hoot. Let me grab the dies. It's called Peek-a-Hoot dies that creates these windows, or you can use little rectangles and squares in place of. So let's have a look at the card that we're starting with today. Isn't it cute? I just love the owls. And it was one of my favorite bundles in the catalog, and I hadn't used it yet. Even though it's my favorite, I just kind of go through and I start creating, and I just never got to it. And today I was like, gosh, this is the perfect opportunity to use it, but I'm going to make my card a little bit different. So that's always a fun thing. You can make your card however you want. So here is, let me overlay the layout. Now here is the layout and the measurements. So if you are unsure how to build a card like this, you can just use these measurements as your starting point. Of course, you can change things up a little bit. Say that little 1 3/8 inch square is too small. Make it a little larger. Make it 1.5 inches by 1.5 inches. You have the choice, but you can kind of see now how big it is. So you can see what your starting point is. And for that top piece, the 2 1/8 by 3 1/4, I didn't want that on my card, so I didn't include it. So you can play a little bit around with how to make the layout work for you. And normally I really try and use a different stamp set than the original card because it just makes my creativity pop. But since I hadn't used that bundle yet, I really, really wanted to use it today. So that's what I'll be doing. The other thing I want to mention, because last month we had a designer series paper sale. This month we have the quite curvy bundle pre-order, and I'm going to be working with this this bundle probably next week, and showing you some samples with it. It has these little curvy lines and things that go on here with this stamp set. Now you can get this plus we have a matching Christmas, curvy Christmas, which this is limited time. This will only be available during the period until the end of December. And it has paper that goes with it too, the 6x6 paper pack. And I love this paper because it's very neutral. It's got neutral patterns, and I love pretty paper, but often I'm looking for like neutral patterns. So I'm going to kind of spread this out a little bit. So there are a lot of neutral patterns, and the colors in this pack are Cherry Cobbler, Sahara Sand, Shaded Spruce, and Whisper White. So, and then kind of flip to the back side so you can see some of the patterns. I didn't do a good job of fanning that out. This is a lopsided fan, but you can kind of get, there's a bunch of neutral patterns in this pack. That's what this pack is about. And I love that because it's really easy to use this paper in the backdrop or something. Or if you're creating 6x6 projects, this is perfect paper to have the packaging be in it. I'm going to close that up later. To have the packaging be in it, but have your tag or your little ribbon, or have that be what pops it. So these are going to be, this is available over in the Stampin' Up store. And if you go to my blog, there will be a link where you can click on over. I'm going to add that after this video so that you can click over and check it out. When you buy all of the bundles together, so the die, the stamp set, the Christmas stamp set, plus the paper together, you can save 10% on the entire bundle, which Stampin' Up typically does not do, but they're doing this time, which I think is really a cool thing. All right, enough talking. Let's get to creating. And good morning to everyone. I will chit chat with you at the end so that I can do my video and not interrupt for those who want to see the stamping and not the chatting. But if you have any questions along the way, please ask me, because I'm always interested in questions and how to answer them. I have a very curious mind. Probably not always a good thing, because it causes me to, like, all the day long, something comes into my head and I must Google it. It's very distracting. So whether that thought stays in my brain or not, that's the question. The knowledge doesn't always stick. So I probably are ending up Googling the same question twice a year apart. But when I'm curious about something, I have to find out what the answer is. Okay. Let me hopefully switch to my other camera. Make sure everything is working here. Other camera. Okay. Switch on over. So today I'm using the Have a Hoot bundle. Buy the die and the stamp set together and save 10%. What I want to really talk about is this very cool window creating device. This is all attached, so it can create these little windows on your card. But when you cut these out, they can also be used as tags, because you can see these little holes that it creates. When I cut one of these, it will become more apparent, but it creates a set of tags. So that it's a very useful thing. And then we have the little owls, the dies for all the owls. And we've got some extras like this little spider web. And we've got these little pine bows that you can use on there to decorate as well. So I took the card that was today's card and I made it my own. And I just switched up some of the things, and I love my card, and I love the one in the catalog too. And at the end, don't let me forget, I made a Halloween card too with this same layout, because I wanted to show you how versatile this is. And even though we're past Halloween already, often these bundles don't carry over. So if you like this set, it covers Halloween and Christmas. Get it before the end of the year, because we might not be able to have it next year. In fact, it will probably go in December. They have a retirement list, and once it's on the retirement list, and sometimes even before that, things can sell out. So then you can't get them anymore. And so if you're interested in it, probably now would be a good time to get it, so that you get it. You don't want to miss out if you like cute little owls like I do. All right, let's build this card and I'll show you how I did it. All right. So first we're going to create the window layer. And so this is a piece of 3 3/4 inch by 5-inch real red cardstock. You can really choose whatever color you want. I think in the video, not the video, in the catalog, the card had a white frame. So right now we're creating the frame that the little owls are going to be in. So I'm just going to place, I have my plate, my main plate, number 2, and then plate number 3. I'm going to grab my dies, and I'm going to grab my real red cardstock, putting it on an angle because when it goes through this flat end, it's always hard for it to go over a flat. If you ever see my machine jump, that's usually like when it has to go over a very long straight line. That's when it likes to do that. So if I put this on an angle, it's kind of coming at it on an angle and coming out this way, so it's not quite as jumpy. So I'm just going to place this on here centered, perfectly centered. I'm looking side to side, top to bottom, making sure I've got about the same amount of space on all 4 sides. This will be skinnier on these 2 sides, but you just want to make sure that it looks good all the way around. All right, and then I'll take my second cutting plate, place it on top, and it's going to go through. And this is where it's hitting the die, so sometimes that's when my machine will shift, and then it's going to come through like that. All right. Okay, and here are, I want to show you these little tags that you could have. So look at these little cute little tags. These you could use on Christmas gifts. So if you're creating cards for the negative, you're using the frame, keep these aside and put them in a little bag or a little box and put them with your Christmas gift wrap. And then you can use that for your little tags at Christmas. No need to not use those if you're not using them for the card. So let me set this aside. And let's come back in. Now, how are we going to stamp these little guys on these little windows? So I've got a piece of Whisper White that is the same size as my Real Red. So it is 3 3/4 inches by 5 inches. And I'm going to line these 2 pieces up. Okay. And we're going to have to put the little owls in all of these windows. So I'm going to take a pencil and make some light marks on all 4 sides of each of these windows. These are going to just be little guidelines that are going to help me. Let me show you that. See, they're just really tiny little pencil lines just to act as guidelines. You could trace the whole window if you wanted to, but I find that just as long as I have those 4 guide points, I can pretty much center everything. I'm going to use my Memento Tuxedo Black ink, and before I stamp down, I'm just going to kind of see where is this on the scheme of things, and that looks good. I'm going to stand as I stamp because I can get a better kind of a bird's eye view coming down. Just make sure it's centered. Okay, each of these stamps, this one is long and skinny, so it fits best in this bottom window. Then we have this one that's kind of big and tall, so we're going to put it up in the top left. Make sure that's inked up enough, and I'm just going to see my little guidepost. Make sure. Okay. Stamp that right there. And some of the image will be tucked under the window. That's okay. We don't need to worry about that. The window will cover that. And then this little guy, he will be down at the bottom. Okay. Just kind of checking. All right. So we've got our little guy stamped. And now we're going to come in and do some coloring. We're going to color the owls first. I'm going to use my crumb cake markers, and I'm going to start off with the dark. And guess what? How did I decide how to color these? Very easily. I looked at the image in the catalog and I was very boring. I followed that design exactly. So I'm just going to use my dark to do the top of the owl and the wings. So I'm going to do that with all of these. And I know some of you find coloring therapeutic, so I think it's actually really fun to color these. Okay, and then these guys, oh, you know what? I'm going to switch to my bullet tip. These little owls, these Kinder owls, are very small. And I'm just going to just hit the tops and the wings. All right. And then I'll come in with my crumb cake light and I'm just going to fill in the rest of the body. I'm avoiding the eyes. They're going to stay white. It's actually pretty easy to color these following the Stampin' Up. You know what? Underneath the eye, I missed a little bit. Okay, and then I'll come in and do the little owl bodies down here. Easy peasy. All right, next I'm going to use my dark Old Olive. Pull this out. And I'm using the bullet tip for this. And I'm going to make this all green. Normally I might do this brown and green, but I'm going to come back and cut some little twigs for my finished card. And so I want the little twigs, the little ends, the pine boughs to all match in the green color. So I'm going to just do everything in green. It also provides a little contrast from the owls. You know, owls would be prettier if they were in different colors, but they need to be camouflaged, right? So that's why they're generally in camouflaged colors. Okay. Oh, and we'll do this little, this is cute. This is some mistletoe, I think, for these two owls. All right. I think things are coming along. Dark real red. We're gonna do this little ribbon on the present here, the little holly berries, and we're gonna do the hats. And you know, we could do the whole hat, but yeah, I'm gonna do all the hat completely red, or you could leave some of it white like the pom-pom and the band, but I'm just gonna go in and do it all red because they're really small. All right, I think we're looking pretty good. You know what I'm gonna do right now is I'm gonna erase these little, oh shoot, that my eraser had a black spot on it and now I have transferred that onto my little card. Usually what I do before that is I kind of do this with my eraser and I get any of the black marks off because sometimes it actually transfers on. You know what? I am not going to be able to get rid of that now. So hopefully most of my window will cover it. So just be careful with white erasers. Just like get the black part off if you have any black from previous erasing. And then go in and do that. I've done that before too and didn't think about it while on camera. But maybe it's a good reminder for everyone not to do what I did, right? Okay, the rest of it looks good. Okay, now what we're going to do is we're going to come in with the pool party with the brush tip. And I'm going to go around all of this, over the snowflakes, around the mistletoe. I'm going to kind of create like a blue haze, a blue pool party haze around each of these. The reason I'm doing this is actually kind of inspired by, I think the original card was stamped on blue paper. Either that or they did a watercolor wash technique in the background. And so I really liked that blue in the background. So I decided that I was going to kind of do that for this as well. Oh, you know what? I think I'm going to be really lucky and that little mark is not going to show because this is a really small window. I think I'm going to be in luck. Well, I think it will, if it shows, it will just be a really, really tiny bit. Okay, and then let me do this. Sorry, my marker's squeaking. That must be a little annoying for some people. You know, this marker is kind of getting dry. I use it a lot. I think I might need to switch it out very soon. After this latest one, I have used this marker. I have not replaced my pool party yet since I got it. So these Stampin' Blends last a long time, but I think it's like kind of giving up the ghost. It's almost dead. Almost, almost, almost. Maybe my bullet tip will be a little better. Pull this out. No, bullet tip's also very dry. Yep, it's time to say goodbye to my pool party after today. At least my light one. I know I have one in the drawer. Okay. All right, I think I've done a pretty good job of kind of creating that blue haze. I don't know if you can see it. You can definitely see my little eraser mark up there. Yuck. Okay, but you can see kind of the blue around the pool party around the owls. All right, so now let's see how much of my little mark is going to be gone. It's still there a little bit, but not that bad. It's not that bad. See? Look, you can tell because you know that I put it there, but not too bad. So before I go ahead and do anything else, I'm going to stamp my Merry Christmas on here because if I mess this up, I don't want this glued down here. I'll cut a new real red window to go on top of that. After all the coloring work I did, I really, really, really do not want to have to redo my whole owl piece. Okay, so this is Merry Christmas. And I'm going to come up here and I'm just going to add that right here. Remember on the original card, it had a little banner. So I didn't do that. I just stamped my Merry Christmas up there. That's actually the perfect spot to put a little greeting because there's a little bit of extra space there. So I like that a lot. Okay, I think I've done all my stamping now. Hopefully there's nothing else I can mess up. All right, so I'm going to take this piece now and I'm going to add some Tombow on the back of it. This definitely has a distinctive front and the back. The front of it, the stitching looks nicer. So when you're doing this, it definitely looks nicer one way than the other way. Okay, so now I'm just going to come and hover this over the top. Make sure I can't see any white peeking through. And if I do have white peeking through, white cardstock on the back, I can just trim it off with my scissors if that happens. Okay, isn't that so cute? All right, then I took a piece of paper from this collection right here, Heartwarming Hugs paper. Lots of reds and greens, really good Christmas paper. And I cut it just 1/8 of an inch larger. It's just gonna really tiny peek out on there, just like little bit. So it is 3 7/8 by 5 1/8. So I'm just going to adhere this to my paper. And since it's such a skinny piece that's sticking out, you have to be really careful when you're putting this down so that you do have an equal distance around because of that skinny little piece. I just wanted, I don't know if you can see that, just a little bit to peek out and pop, right? All right, now I've got a card base and I like to do those tent folds. So this is 11 inches by 4¼ inches, scored in half at the 5½ inch mark. I'll take this and I'm going to glue it to the front. Now you can see how pretty that little piece of designer series paper looks. It's got a little bit of white, but not too much white. We don't want it to detract from our little owls, but it just adds like a little bit of interest to the paper, or to the card, I should say. Okay, so now we're going to center this on the front. Okay, and then it looked good like that, but where did I stick my card? There we go. I decided I wanted to add some of these green boughs on here. You could leave the card as it is, like right now, but I don't know, I just kept going. And I have a real red bow. Okay, so where did I get these little green boughs from? They are from right here. There's a bigger one and a smaller one, and I just cut them out of old olive cardstock. And I did that in advance because I had to run it through a couple of times. So now I can take these little pieces and like add them to here wherever I want to add them. So it just kind of makes the little windows come a little bit outside of the box. So you know what? I want to put a little bit of Tombow right on the tip here. All right, so if I put this right here, it's going to come out and stick just a little bit outside. And then I can take this one and I'm going to scoot this one back just a little bit like that. I'm doing it a little bit differently than the original card. I think that's because with my original card, I put these on before I glued it onto the card base. Now I have a much better idea of how big my card base is. So I can just kind of come on to add that. And then I think I'll take 2 of these and I'll just extend these down. So on the card that's in the catalog, they actually also stamped the owl and cut it out, and so the wing kind of comes off as well. You could do that too if you wanted to. And then one more. Oh, come here. I'm going to stick this one up here like that. All right, I didn't need these 2 extra pieces, so that's fine. And then I tied myself a little bow with a real red sheer ribbon. This is my favorite ribbon out of the holiday catalog. Oh, let me see if I can show you. Real red sheer, it's great. Even if you have other reds, this red will match because it's sheer. So it's got the true real red on the outside, but the sheer color makes it go well with other reds too. It's not overpowering, but it's still just really pretty. And look at that bow. Let me hold it steady for a moment. It ties really nicely. So if you're looking for some real red ribbon for your holiday tags, that's what I would use, this beautiful real red sheer. And then I'm just going to stick this up here. The reason I'm putting it here and not elsewhere is because I want to draw attention I might need a little extra mini glue dot to make the bow sit down a little bit, but you can see it on here. It's hiding on the real red cardstock. It's supposed to not overpower, but the idea is to draw back attention to the Merry Christmas. That's why it's up here. You could put it elsewhere on the card as well. It looked, when I moved it around, it looked nice in a variety of places, but I'm all about, like, when I create a card, I also want it to look pleasing to the eye. So I'm always thinking about the flow of the card. How will it look when your eye hits it? And if you want to draw back attention to this Merry Christmas, that's a really nice way, you know, put your bow up there and then it just goes right up to the top. Perfect like that. Now, I said that I created a Halloween card. I know you're thinking, why is she showing us a Halloween card right now? But I do, like, you know, think ahead. Like, when you're building a stamp collection, what holidays do you want to cover? And do you like cute little animals? And I just wanted to show you, since I hadn't done a Halloween card with this, let me move this one out of the way so we can see them side by side. So it has images, Halloween images that match in those exact same windows. So you can create the same card just using some Halloween supplies. And remember I told you about this spider web die? So I just cut this out in basic gray, and I just used one in basic gray, and I cut it apart in some wedges. And then I used that, like, since I have the pine bows on here, I decided we also needed a little bit of die decoration. So the little spider webs, I don't know if you can see that, little spider web pieces on there just to add to it. So I use Cajun Craze cardstock, and then I used, oh shoot, I need to go grab my pack. I didn't do a supply list for the Halloween one, but this is the Magic in the Night Designer Series paper. It's really beautiful paper, and it still can be used past Halloween because it's got two different sides to it. So this could look like a spider web, but it also looks like a pretty doily, and you could actually color right on the paper and turn it a different color. So even though Halloween is past, this still has longevity. So that Halloween in the Night paper, that's just peeking around the edges again. It helps that layer pop a little bit, but it doesn't really take away from the card. It's got a little bit of white in it, but it's just hinting around the edges, so it's not overpowering. And then I used some of this glittered black glittered organdy ribbon. And it's so pretty. It's got little glitter flakes in it. And then I use that for the bow up here. And you can just see how the little images, they fit in there perfectly, as well as the Christmas one. So just remember, this stamp set really covers two holidays really well. It's so cute. What do you like better, Halloween or Christmas? Actually, I shouldn't ask that question because I'm sure a lot of you would just say Christmas. But what do you like to create for better? Do you like the creativity of Halloween or the creativity of Christmas? You know, they're kind of two different holidays. You know, one has, you know, real broad creativity potential, right, with Halloween, different costumes and stuff. Christmas has some really iconic images and things that revolve around it. So, what do you like better, or which card do you like better, Halloween or Christmas? I think they're really both cute, and the images are just adorable. Like this little owl with the little cape, and the little owl behind the pumpkin, and this little owl here who's scared of the spider. Just really adorable images, and not like scary or grotesque images, kind of fun and whimsical images. All right, well, those are my cards. I hope you enjoyed them. I'm going to come back over here, and I'm going to chat with you. So let's see who's here this morning. Good morning, Louise and Dee. And Mary, so nice to see you today. And Betty, got people from, and Amy, got people from all over the place. And Anna, I'm looking at some of the places: Missouri, Oregon, Washington, Arizona, Minnesota. Barbara, are you like freezing this morning in Minnesota? It says chilly Minnesota. We woke up this morning, it was 7 degrees Celsius. Which I don't know what that translates to. I think it was in the 40s for Fahrenheit people. I'm still a Celsius girl. I have my weather app on Celsius, so it messes people up when I say the Celsius. Unless you're from Canada or Europe or Australia, I think they do Celsius as well. So I think U.S. is kind of unique in doing the Fahrenheit thing, actually. So I grew up on Celsius, so my brain still kind of thinks in Celsius. Okay. I'm continuing on. Oh, Amy, it's snowing. You know what? I talked to my mom last night and she said it snowed there too. And my mom is just, north of you in British Columbia. So, yeah, that's, um, yeah, the four seasons in the West, they were really much more distinctive. When I moved out to central Canada when I went to university, the seasons aren't quite as distinct because the transition between winter and summer seems to happen much quicker, and same with the fall. The fall gets colder a lot quicker. It kind of just seems like overnight, all of a sudden it's cold instead of more of a transition that I was used to growing up in BC. Oh, someone else in Oregon. Very nice. Betty says, great idea using a template. Yeah, it's a good idea to just like mark off where you're going to stamp. There's no way that you could eyeball it otherwise. You really need to mark it off. And pencil marks normally don't cause problems. I just didn't have a clean eraser. Just remember those. I have a really good white eraser, but if there's any black on it, sometimes it transfers over onto my next project, and that's not good. Amy said, a suggestion. I think in the stamp set there is a little star stamp. Oh, is there a star stamp? I don't know that there is or not. But you know what? I probably have a star somewhere. There's a little moon from the Have a Hoot, but it's attached to the stamp. I don't know if I want to cut it off, but I probably have an itty bitty star in some stamp set somewhere that I could use to, um, you know what? I could also, there's enough room right there on my little loop. I could probably hand draw a little snowflake, like a little asterisk. Like, I don't think that would be too hard. I think my drawing ability could be, I could make a stick snowflake, right? Oh my gosh. That's how I kind of, that's where my drawing career ended, at the stick figure family. And yeah, but I could draw a stick snowflake, I think, to cover that. That's a great idea. Um, let's see. Dee says, I don't have the owls, but they are cute. The card turned out adorable. I love the old olive sprigs added. And she loves the ribbon as well. The sheer really dresses up and down when needed. Yeah, that sheer ribbon. I always have, it's funny, I tend to buy most of the ribbon in any given catalog because I need it to back up the things that I'm creating. And ribbon is less expensive than, buying a bundle and stuff. So I have I have my little basket right here. It doesn't have everything in it right now because some of my ribbons I'm using on other projects. But like here is my little ribbon box from the holiday catalog. This is just from the holiday catalog. And I keep it by my desk. So I'm like, okay, make sure you look at these ribbons first if it's the holiday catalog season. And there's always a favorite, always. And this time it's my real red. And I actually finished my roll, so I don't have the roll sitting out right here, but I do have a new one that I'm going to start soon. So, oh, Beverly, you are from Quebec. How lovely. Quebec is a wonderful province. We really enjoyed our trip to Montreal a few years ago. Um, we went to see the Lachine Rapids. We ate at this wonderful, it was like a pastry school, a French pastry school in downtown Montreal. And once we discovered that, like we went, it was right at the end of our trip. We wanted to go back every day because it was so good. They had just delicious. Probably we ate there for breakfast, which is kind of my way of getting around, not like snacking for the rest of the day. I use it as a breakfast food. What did I have? I don't even remember what I had. Probably like an almond croissant or something like that. It was just so good. Yeah, that trip was really, really a fun trip, and we were able to drive up from Boston, so that was kind of nice. But yeah, that was another time when we could just go across the border. Now those times are gone for a little while, but I am sure we will get them back in the future. We just need to be a little bit patient. And, I think this year has been a good year for reflection and a good year for, counting our blessings. It has not been an easy year. There have been a lot of losses this year. And so um, I lost my dad about a week ago, and that was really hard. But I know he's in a better place right now. He was sick and he had a good long life, but it's been a hard year for that. And but at the same time, I feel like really grateful for everything we have. I'm grateful that my husband and I can work from home. I'm grateful that my son was able to go up and study in Canada. Um, I'm grateful for so many things in my life, and but it's been a hard year. I lost two team members on our team, and a lot of people, not necessarily that I know, but it's been hard. People have had sickness, and they've had people die in their families, and it's hard. Like my dad's funeral is this week, and I'm here in Boston, and my family's up in Canada. Luckily, it will be live streamed, so I can watch it. But yeah, it's a tough year, but there's a lot of good things that have come out of this year. We've learned a lot about ourselves, and I hope that after all of this is over, we take away from that. And I'm going to be so grateful to be able to go out in the public and talk to people again and not shrink away from people and all of that. I'm going to not take that for granted when we get that back. And I can't wait to go up and give my family, my mom and my sister a big hug. When as soon as I can travel again, I'm heading to British Columbia and giving them all a big hug. So anyway, didn't want to be weepy. Let me grab a tissue before my nose forms a drip and I look really bad. Okay, let's move on to happier things and stuff. Um, okay, that was inspired by my Canada thing, but I love Canada. Oh, where there's my little Canada flag still up there. I need to get an American flag. I'm a dual citizen now. I need to get my little American flag up there too. Have not ordered it yet, but I'm a recent citizen, so that's my excuse for now. Okay, Dee says, I like creating for Christmas more than Halloween. However, I always think the Halloween ones are really cute when others create them. Yeah, you know what? One thing I will say about my dad is he loved to create costumes for Halloween. So I'm always going to remember Halloween fondly from now on. My father actually died on Halloween. So it's kind of, I don't know, cosmic thing. And so every Halloween from now on, after this one, of course, it will be a happy day where I remember him. All right. Oh, Louise had a good suggestion about those little adhesive snowflakes. That would look good too. But then I'd probably want to spread a few more of them around to kind of create that illusion. I have to think about that one. Yes, lots of good ways to fix mistakes, right? Thank you for your suggestions. Okay. Thank you for all your prayers and thoughts about my dad. Thank you. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. It's just it's this week that the funeral is, and that's why it's a little bit more raw. And but he had a good life, and that's the main thing. And he died with my mom and sister by his side, and so that's another good thing. They could both be there for him, and I was able to talk to him um, almost every day this summer while he was sick and in the hospital, and I had some good conversations with him. Maybe not the deepest because he was in the hospital, but I was able to connect with him, and that was the important thing, right? um, Dee says, great insight on not shrinking away in the future. We never know our strength until we are presented with difficulties. Sharing tears are the best form of sharing your love with your friends and family. That is really sweet, Dee. I love that. Wow, that's a really profound statement. And why don't we end on that note today? And thank you so much for bearing with me right to the end here. If you need any more information about anything I did today, there are links down below in the description of this video that will take you to where you need to go. Or if you don't see it, just hit the contact link and you can send me a message that way. All right, guys, I will be back here on Friday. I'm not sure what I'm going to do yet. I will be on YouTube. I'll be doing a live 10 a.m. Eastern on Friday morning. Have an idea, but I'm not 100% sure yet. It will either be like a fancy full card or it will be a 3D thing. I'm leaning towards the 3D since I did a card last week, but we will see what I come up with. Okay, guys, I hope you have a great rest of your week. Take care. Bye bye.